Right, so here we go. Yep. So I've got a Digitakt. Absolutely love it. Brilliant instrument. Amazing. But it has a few limitations, most of which are good because they force you to sort of be creative and think of ways around the limitations. And I do actually, I got it rather than the Octatrack because I looked at the Octatrack. There's just so much in it. It's just so capable of so many things. I thought the Digitakt would, be a bit more quicker and easier to learn and use. And I do find it extremely easy and like a really good workflow. So definitely recommend that. Anyway, one of the limitations which I've always found a little bit frustrating is the fact that you can't play samples polyphonically. But now you can. Where is it? Because these extraordinarily clever boys and girls at Retrokits have made this MIDI cable with a microprocessor in it, which allows you to play the Digitakt polyphonically, and it's flipping amazing. So I'll just do like basically what it allows you to do. I've got a sample. That's the sample. It's from a Tom Overheim SEM, which I bought about 10 years ago, which is a beautiful sounding synth. But being able to sample it and play it polyphonically really sort of brings it to life. But that's the sample, and I've basically copied it onto 6 sample slots, all with very slightly different sort of tunings, filter settings, panning. And what happens is when you go onto your MIDI channel, I'll show you, it plays it polyphonically. So you'll see it's, as you play a note, every note you hit, it plays a different sample. Obviously it's all the same sample here with slightly different settings. What that means is, when you go into keyboard mode, you can play it polyphonically. Amazing. I've got a pretty far out delay on there because sounds great with the sequence. Anyway, the other thing to mention is you can. I've got it set to 6-note poly. It'll do any number of poly. Obviously, in 8 it sounds flipping amazing. 6 is like a good compromise, I think, between voices and spare tracks, because obviously that only leaves you 2 tracks left to do your other stuff on, which for me is actually all right because I can sort of like work a way around of using just 2 tracks. But you can go down to like 4-note poly. Still sounds flipping great. That's in 4-note poly. You start going down to 3. Still sounds good in 3, to be fair. It's like you don't quite get the same. Once you get to 2, it starts like choking. The notes start sort of choking each other. You don't get the long release time, and that's with 1, which is all you could do before with the Digitakt before this cable came along. Which is cool, which is great, but obviously in poly mode, man, what happens is each note doesn't choke. Each note doesn't get choked by the previous one. So I put a sequence in just to sort of demonstrate what it sounds like. And then you can address each sample with a different setting. With the Digitakt, you can, slightly different envelope setting, filter setting, tuning setting, panning setting, reverb setting, delete, anything you want really. So I've got another sequence here, which is the same sequence basically, with just slightly different filter settings. Filter and envelope settings. for each sample. So you can hear as it scrolls through. And then you can change the overall filter settings. If you hit your track button to control all, what I'll do, I'll just play, and I've got another sound it sounds real nice with. I've got a Oberheim Matrix 6R, which is a beautiful synth, but the thing is with it, it's an amazing sounding synth, but it's very difficult to sequence it polyphonically. Something about the envelopes on the synth, it just doesn't, it's so frustrating because it sounds amazing, but you just can't get the right sort of shaped envelope. But obviously once it's sampled into the Digitakt, it allows you to address, because the Digitakt's got amazing filter and envelopes, absolutely amazing. So it allows you to set the envelopes using the Digitakt, and again address each sample with an individual setting. But I've tried sampling, it just sounds amazing with everything I've sampled into it, using it polyphonically. I've also got a Roland JX03, which is, you know, not a proper analog synth, but it sounds amazing once it's sampled into here, you know. That's the JX03. Tuning there, but so anything you sample into it just sounds amazing polyphonically. Obviously, if you've got just a slight little bit of movement in the original sample, and it needs to be sort of a certain length so it'll scroll through properly. But if you've got a little bit of movement in the sound, but that's the other thing. What the Digitakt just is amazing at doing. If you're sampling synthesizers into it, anything into it, it really captures every synth that I've sampled. It totally captures the character of the synth. Like I've got a really old synth from 1978, Kawai 100p, which is like a preset synth. It sounds beautiful, but once you sample it into the Digitakt, it really captures the nature of it. You know, I'll just put one of those on. So I've also tried it just with the saw wave from the factory bank in the Digitakt, and that sounds amazing. Sequenced polyphonically or played polyphonically, so like anything you bloody sample into it just sounds flippin' great. Get one, man. So this is me 100 Kawai 100. Let's try that. Slight little imperfections and sort of slight, really captures it. Sample isn't quite as long, the original sample's not so long, so it doesn't roll quite as well, but you get the idea. It's just flipping amazing. And I mean, you know, this cost me €51 plus postage. from Holland, and I didn't have any Brexit nonsense with it. What I mean is, I didn't have to. I was a little bit concerned that I was going to have to. I was going to end up with a demand for like 100 and something quid extra VAT or whatever because of Brexit, but that didn't happen. So order with confidence. Retrokits RK002. Honestly, it's an absolute flipping game changer. I would definitely get one if you've got a Digitakt, because it really, really opens it up into a whole new instrument. Okay.